Hello, very good evening. Many thanks for joining us here on News Hour here on GBC24. We are also live on GTV, and my name is Abdul Haji Moment.
I am Shirley, and Robert Pimpo Manso will be our sign-out for tonight.
And coming up tonight, 2016 budget to be presented tomorrow. Ghanaians urged to be moderate in their expectations.
AU high-level panel on illicit financial flows from Africa in Ghana to confer with government.
And Europe fund to tackle African migration, not enough, says African leaders. Now, the news in detail. The AU high-level panel on illicit financial flows from Africa is in Ghana to confer with government on how to deal with the problem.
The panel is chaired by former South African President Thabo Mbeki.
$1 billion is taken out of Africa every year through illicit transfers by multinational corporations, especially in the mining sector. The figure is more than overseas development assistance to the continent. Unfortunately, African governments do not have the capacity to check the illegal siphoning of money from the continent, whether through taxes or customs duties.
We are going to set up some coordinating structure so that everybody who's doing something about this on the continent, plus our allies externally, were able to act in a coordinated manner to push this. Because it's important, as you know, Vice President, these are large sums of money which the continent can't afford to lose. There's a good appetite on the part of the governments of the developed countries for this. Because what they are complaining about is that these big multinationals headquartered in their own countries are sending profits to the tax havens. So they are losing tax revenues themselves. So now they are very keen that this matter about illicit financial flows must be attended to, because it's impacting on them negatively, which is good for us. So we don't have to be fighting them, banging tables. We need to take advantage of that mood, as reflected in the agreements, international agreements, really to try and push this.
Vice President Mr. Emisa Arthur said Ghana will cooperate with the panel.
We're looking at, philosophical objections to what you're doing in terms of stability agreements. For example, with respect to natural resource exploitation, then the problem is that, we signed this agreement 20 years ago and it's frozen in time. You cannot change it because it's undemocratic to change it and so on. So we find that small countries then cannot battle these large multinational corporations because of this. So I am happy that we get the benefit of a high-level panel like yours that will then support our countries in struggling against some of the interests that multinational corporations have. The issue of capacity is also important. We're hoping that we'll be able to share databases with other countries in order to then identify resources that are moving out of our country.
Other news, with the completion of 98% of major educational infrastructure projects in the Akachi North District of the Volta region, school enrollment has improved.
Many educational facilities have also been expanded to accommodate more students. The authorities say this is to ensure quality, especially at the basic level.
The Akachi North District Assembly is a new district carved from the then Aveno district. The capital is Ave Dakpa. It is made up of farming settler communities. The district inherited many uncompleted projects from the then Aveno district, most of which were educational projects to expand infrastructure and improve access to basic education. The district has been able to complete most of these projects in 2 years. This has expanded and improved access to education, especially at the primary level. The District Chief Executive, Mr. James Gunu, has visited some ongoing projects including a completed 6-unit classroom with ancillary facilities by the Common Fund Secretariat at Ave Jajape. Works were ongoing on a 3-unit classroom block facility, while other 3-unit classroom facility was being converted from pavilions to a permanent facility at Ajigo, sponsored by the GET Fund. At Afiadenyigban Bohohoma, a 6-unit classroom with ancillary offices for the EP Primary School had been completed, also by the GET Fund. This new facility is expected to replace this old and deplorable structure and formed parts of the school and the trees project. Work on the new office complex for the District Assembly is also at an advanced stage. The construction of staff bungalows has also made appreciable progress. Some bungalows have been completed and occupied. Mr. Gunu also stopped over at Nyitavuta to inspect a completed chief's compound of the local residents. The District Chief Executive, James Gunu, said about 98% of educational projects in the district are so far completed. Next on the agenda for the district is to tackle the deplorable roads.
The Missiological Society of Ghana has been inaugurated in Accra. Missiologists train missionaries.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, asked them to remain focused on their call. A report by Theodora Medeto.
Among its objectives are to promote the study of biblical, historical and practical issues relating to Christian mission. The Missiological Association was duly inaugurated by the President of the Trinity Theological Seminary, Right Reverend Professor J.O.Y. Mante, with its first 6-member executives. The society already has 37 registered members and is open to all graduate research students and pastors in specialized ministry, among others. The chairperson of the National Peace Council, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, said evangelism in Africa must be utilitarian and define the modern trend of theology of mission.
Justice Anderson observed correctly when he said, unquote, "The world of missiology is experiencing a return to theological reflection. A quest for the essence of the faith is in progress. With their wealth of cross-cultural experience, missionaries and nationals are seeking the contextualization of the gospel in their respective cultural settings." And I share the view that one of the main reasons for the growth and proliferation of Pentecostalism in Africa has been its ability to adapt itself to the cultures and worldview of Africans and give contextualized expressions to Christianity.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, said many believe that more than half of the world's Christians live in Africa. Therefore, Christianity can shape events in Africa, hence the need for missiologists and mission workers to integrate Christian ethics into their country's economies.
The Missiological Society of Ghana has to develop the capacity to train missionaries and prepare them spiritually for their cause. They should train upright people who will be able to combine socio-economic realism and cultural political combat with a concern for humanity.
The president of the association, Reverend Professor David N.A. Kobi, is optimistic that churches in Ghana and West Africa will benefit because the society conducts researches to guide and direct how to engage with other religious bodies and also win souls for Christ. The Missiological Society of Ghana is an international, interconfessional and intercultural organization. It focuses on scholarly study of Christian witness and its impact in the world. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
And this is News Hour here on GBC24, also live on GTV. Still to come, an explosion in Sunyani as well as the dam spillage at Waja. We'll also be telling you about the budget, which will be read tomorrow after this break. Stay with us. In business news, Finance Minister Mr. Seth Terkper will on Friday present the 2016 financial statement to Parliament. The budget will form part of the government's transformational agenda and securing the bright medium-term prospects of the economy. GBC24 takes a look at the 2015 budget statement with targets that
The 2015 budget themed transformational agenda securing the bright medium-term prospects of the economy was aimed at maintaining a balance between business growth and development by reining in expenditure, expanding the tax base and boosting infrastructure. It focused on strengthening power and transport infrastructure, modernizing agriculture, expanding access to education, deepening support for indigenous businesses, and underpinned by innovative debt management strategies to cushion the economy and promote growth and development. The 2015 financial statement pegged the overall real GDP growth at 3.9%, non-oil real GDP growth at 2.7%. The budget estimated that by the end of year 2015, inflation will peg at 11.5%, with overall budget deficit at 6.5%. Gross international reserves were projected to remain at not less than 3 months of import cover of goods and services. As a measure to achieve these targets, the government entered into an agreement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for a 3-year program aimed at restoring debt sustainability, macroeconomic stability, and a return to high growth and job creation while protecting the poor. The government, in conjunction with the IMF, reviewed some of the projections set in the 2015 financial statement, and this was presented to Parliament during the mid-year review. The overall GDP growth was reviewed from 3.9 to 3.5%, while GDP growth scaled down from 2.7 to 2.3%, with overall inflation increasing from 11.5% to 13.7%. The budget deficit was revised from 6.5% to 7.3%. Most of the benchmarks set out in the 2015 financial statement were also reviewed. The Minister for Finance, Seth Terkper, said the reviews in the targets set in the 2015 budget forms part of the process to achieve macroeconomic stability.
Government has developed a medium-term debt management strategy to ensure effective financing requirements and reduce the cost of debt service. In line with the strategy, government intends to identify its funding sources and lengthen the maturity profile of its public debt.
On the power sector, the Finance Minister outlined a number of initiatives. These include bringing in emergency power plants, the Ameri Power Plant in Takoradi, the Pong Thermal plants, among others. According to him, these projects will ease the current power crisis. Come tomorrow, the Finance Minister will present another financial budget statement to Parliament with a focus on strengthening fiscal policy and macroeconomy for the country. The 2016 budget will be a budget for the election year, and with the IMF program still in place, analysts are expecting further tightening of the fiscal policies to achieve financial discipline and control expenditure in the election year. But Mr. Terkper will be expected to tell the whole nation how the economy is faring, the performance of the city against its trading partners, and more critically, how to end the power crisis.
In other business news, the head of the finance department of the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Lufa Bukping, is asking Ghanaians to be moderate in their expectations of the 2016 budget. According to him, the current financial position of the country will make things difficult for the government to spend on pro-poor projects. Dr. Bukping expects a tight budget which will be unfriendly to the business community.
The 2014-2015 financial year will go down as one of the toughest in Ghana's economic history. A fall in oil prices from a record high of $100 a barrel to around $50 a barrel affected government revenue targets badly. Based on the revised oil price assumptions, total petroleum receipts for 2015 dropped to $1.8 billion from the budget estimate of $2.4 billion, 58% lower than estimated. Revenue yield from the special petroleum tax dropped by 124.4 million Ghana cedis. This development forced government to seek a supplementary budget of over 865 million Ghana cedis to support the 2015 budget. Inflation pressures remain high at a double digit of 19.4%, with the cedi depreciating by 19.95% to the dollar. The country's debt stock rose to $90 billion, representing 67.53% in May. The Minister for Finance, Mr. Setekbe, goes to Parliament tomorrow to present the 2016 budget. The head of the Finance Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Alufa Bukping, cautions the public to be moderate in their expectations of the 2016 budget.
We don't have that flexibility. Let's face it, we cannot expect a budget that will be so business friendly in terms of reducing taxes or even embarking upon certain wide-ranging infrastructure financing, given also the fact that we are going into an election. So it's important that we put all these things within perspective, within a context which should shape our expectations.
With election 2016 on the radar, Dr. Bokping predicts government will overspend even with the IMF in the background.
If you remember 2008, government budget deficit target was about 4%. We did more than that. But government said they were going to keep to their budget. 2012, they said that we should trust them. They will not spend outside what they have said. What happened? We threw all of that aside. So this is the history we have.
However, the managing director of First Bank Financial Services, Samuel Esiedu, believes the IMF program will help the situation.
I think we have IMF around. They are keeping an eye. They've been watching and doing reviews. And reports we hear is that it's been satisfactory. That suggests we have the discipline on this occasion. We just have to maintain the discipline in next year. Once we become disciplined, we stay within our budget. I don't foresee that we will give in to agitation for projects to be undertaken. Insofar as those projects had been budgeted for, it is fair to do. But if it's outside the budget, then I'm afraid we shouldn't venture.
The 2015 budget saw the introduction of the financial services tax. Mr. Esiedu is urging government to hold the brakes on the introduction of new taxes in the financial sector.
We had tax VAT on financial services products. It has settled. I think that's enough. We should hold on to that. We shouldn't increase or introduce any other tax on financial services products.
Environmentalists say to properly deal with sanitation, the government must show commitment to the problem. They say at least 400 million Ghana cedis in the 2016 budget for the sanitation sector will help deal with the tax head-on. The environmentalists are suggesting projects to solve the annual flooding, which in turn will reduce the incidence of cholera. The Environmental Service Providers Association have shared some thoughts on the matter with selected news editors in Accra.
This is a common sight across the country. Choked drains, improper disposal of waste, be it solid or liquid. The situation is blamed on a number of factors, among them bad attitudes and lack of space for the final disposal of waste. The low level of media attention on sanitation cannot be left out. In spite of the fact that our very life depends on the environment, the sector is said to be the most neglected by successive governments, receiving very little financial support, affecting service providers. It is in the light of this that the Environmental Services Providers Association is calling upon government to pay key attention to the sector.
Once there is a PPP, and government is there, the private sector is there. At the end of the day, the private sector will not look on for his money to go waste. And with those that have been piloted so far, you will agree that it has been successful. Why do we still have the Accra compost? It's because there's a private sector hand in it. So what we are telling government is, private sector have taken leadership. There's evidence. So 2016 budget, allocate funds for the sanitation sector.
Another area of concern to the Environmental Service Providers Association is the inability to charge realistically, as the issue of sanitation is considered a social service, and the unwillingness of some waste generators to pay for collection.
The financial implications are a bit huge, and we believe what we do will also help government reduce health cost if the country is clean. So it is about time that we put our hands together and see how best we can engage government and get some of the support that other contractors, like the road contractors and others, have been enjoying.
Formed in 2001, the Environmental Services Providers Association is an association of private waste companies aimed at complementing and supporting government efforts at solving environmental challenges in communities in the country. The Environmental Services Providers Association believes that with the necessary financial support from government, the pressure on the National Health Insurance Scheme will be reduced as people would live healthy lives. For the Environmental Service Providers Association, sanitation management is a shared responsibility, and it calls for all to come on deck to keep the country clean. For a healthy people makes a healthy nation. Peggy Amadonko for Ghana Television.
Societe Generale Ghana is offering its customers the opportunity to win up to 300,000 Ghana cedis to celebrate this year's Christmas under its new promotion, the Final Countdown. The promotion gives customers of the bank the chance to multiply their deposits to increase their chance of winning. The grand draw of the promotion is slated for 3rd March 2016 and will see the grand winner taking home 300,000 Ghana cedis. The first runner-up will also receive 100,000 Ghana cedis, with the second runner-up walking away with 50,000 Ghana cedis.
The Final Countdown promotion follows a similar promotion launched last year by SG Ghana, dubbed the Power of 250. The Power of 250 saw the overall winner walking away with 250,000 Ghana cedis. According to SG Ghana, they have introduced the Final Countdown promotion to afford numerous customers the opportunity to enjoy this year's Christmas to the fullest. The Final Countdown gives customers of the bank the chance to multiply their deposits and maintain at least 200 Ghana cedis to have the chance to enter the draw till the grand draw date. Apart from the grand prize of 300,000 Ghana cedis, the first runner-up will take home 100,000 Ghana cedis, and the third runner-up will also receive 50,000 Ghana cedis. There are other prizes such as Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, Samsung 40-inch LED TV, and shopping vouchers. The managing director of Societe Generale, Mr. Sionle Yeo, stressed that the promotion will also cultivate the culture of savings among Ghanaians.
This year, we want to keep the spirit of rewarding our customers up, hence the Final Countdown promotion, which has been designed to reward more customers. The Final Countdown promotion gives all customers of a bank the chance to multiply their deposits by 4, 3, or 2 times and win lots of fantastic prizes.
The head of segment and product development of Societe Generale, Mr. Frederick Addy, said new customers can also open an account with the bank and participate in the promotion.
New and existing customers must make fresh or new deposits. That means cash deposits, check deposits, and transfers from other banks. They have to deposit a minimum of 200 Ghana cedis between 12th November and the 22nd January.
The head of business promotion of the National Lottery Authority, Mr. Eko Inkum, explained the rules and regulations governing the draw of the promotion. The final countdown promotion runs from now till 3rd March 2016. However, there will be other mini draws along the line, which will also reward customers for the loyalty to SG Ghana.
That's all in business. Up next is Health News.
Welcome to the health segment. The Burns and Reconstructive Plastic Surgery Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has received funding of $1 million. The support from GNPC is to complete the first ever Burns ICU in West Africa.
For the past 18 years, the Burns and Reconstructive Plastic Surgery Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has served as a lifeline to many patients. Annually, the unit sees more than 1,000 patients. To give quality care, the Burns unit runs a 3-consultant-led all-day clinic per week. It also provides 24-hour emergency service all year round. To improve on infrastructural standards and services, the Burns unit in 2006 began to construct a 4-story block to house an intensive care unit, a high dependency unit, a leg ulcer clinic, a theatre and sterilization unit, among other facilities. For some years now, the project has stalled because there are no funds. So, to help the unit increase the survival rate of burns victims in the country, the Ghana National Petroleum Company, GNPC, has given the unit a lifeline of $1 million to complete the project.
For us at GNPC, we believe that after we were involved, as usual, in the June 3rd incident, which was rain and fire, which caused a lot of burns and people were affected, we realized that, and we committed to the President of Ghana that we would actually support the Burn Center. So we have been working with the Burn Center to see exactly how we can do the support, and we've come up with an elaborate long-term plan as to how we're going to assist them.
The director of the Burns and Reconstructive Plastic Surgery Unit, Dr. Opoku Wariampoma, said the fund will not only help to complete the center, but also train health personnel at the unit to improve on services.
I can recall several patients who have literally died in front of me because they could not get access to ICU facilities. You know, and as I stand here, the images of these patients in my mind. And these are deaths that could have been avoided if we had the appropriate facilities to care for these patients. So that's what has been driving us to keep pushing and keep knocking on all the doors. And we're also looking at training of physiotherapists and other allied professionals who would help us to get the full complement of staff that will be able to deliver world-class care to our patients.
Dr. Ampoma said, barring any hitches, the center is expected to be fully functional in June 2016.
The Pantine Hospital in Accra now has a maternity ward. Prior to this, pregnant women were only able to access antenatal and postnatal care at the facility, but had to be transferred to other health centers to deliver their babies.
Pantine Hospital in Accra is mostly known as a mental health facility. However, it also serves as a general health facility for the people of Ghana East and its environs. Before the construction of this maternity ward, nurses had to accompany psychiatric pregnant women to other health centers to have their babies. The facility also has a midwifery and nursing training school, but students had to go for practical training at other health institutions. Therefore, management applied to Japan for assistance, which today has resulted in the inauguration of this maternity block. The medical director of Pantine, Dr. Anna Puklo-Jade, was happy that the project has been realized.
People of Japan gladly accepted our request and provided funds to build this maternity block within a very short period of time. We are very grateful to His Excellency Kaoru Yoshimura.
Like Oliver Twist, Dr. Jade asked for more, by appealing to the government for a theater in times of emergency. The Japanese ambassador, Karu Yoshiruma, said about $84,000 was granted to Basic Needs Ghana to construct the maternity ward. Chief Psychiatrist Dr. Akwesi said integration of mental health into general health delivery is necessary for quality health care delivery.
You want a situation where stigma will be completely reduced. The point is that somebody may be mentally ill but may be pregnant. At that point, she needs to go through labor delivery, and there should be the opportunity for her to go through that delivery, so that we don't take the person somewhere else, and then we have difficulty. People might even be afraid, hey, mentally person, how do you handle the person? So we have a delivery unit within the hospital.
Now, pregnant women at Pantine have a place to deliver their babies, while students of the Nursing and Midwifery College are also able to have practical training on campus.
More news after this break.
News from elsewhere. The 1.9 billion, that is 1.2 billion pounds European fund to tackle African migration is not sufficient, several African leaders have said after crisis talks with their European counterparts.
It was one of several measures European and African leaders agreed to reduce the flow of people into Europe.
The leaders said their aim was to address the root causes of migration. The Europe-Africa meeting was planned after around 800 migrants died when their boat sank off Libya in April.
Barack Obama has hailed the results of landmark elections in Myanmar, which took set to usher in a new government. Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy is on track for a majority, taking about 80% of declared seats.
But a quarter of parliamentary seats are allocated to the military, meaning it will remain hugely influential. Mr. Obama called Ms. Suu Kyi to congratulate her and her party, saying he hoped the results would lead to a more peaceful and prosperous future.
Mr. Obama directly acknowledged the success of the National League for Democracy. He also praised what is called Ms. Suu Kyi's tireless efforts and sacrifice over so many years to promote a more inclusive, peaceful and democratic Burma, referring to Myanmar's other name.
Mr. Obama, who has visited Myanmar twice during his presidency, said he hoped the official election results would be respected by all parties. Next, we'll update you on what's happening in the world of sports with Theophilus Sampa.
Good evening, let's get active with sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. This is in partnership with Tobinco Pharmaceuticals Limited, producers of Lunet. Let's go straight to the headquarters of Ghana Football, where the president, Kwesi Nyantakyi, says criticisms about the association's payment of ex gratia to members of its executive committee amounts to crime more than the bereaved. The GFA doled out more than $35,000 to 20 members of its executive committee and other staff as honorarium at a time when it had not paid referees for 8 months and claims to be having financial difficulties.
The committee doesn't pay ex gratia. It was the decision of the Congress to pay ex gratia. And let me also point out clearly that that money is not the money of the government of Ghana. It's not public funds. It is not FIFA money. It is our own money. And that money is like your own money. Nobody can tell you how to spend your money. The GFA is a company limited by guarantee. And we decide to spend our money. There is a hue and cry. Why are you crying more than the bereaved? I don't get the point. But the truth of the matter is that members of the executive committee are not workers of the federation. They don't earn a salary. And so if we're even to divide this amount by the number of months that they stayed in office, it's like $300 a month. And I don't think that is a big deal. The other issue is that our priorities are quite clearly defined. Our key priorities are to develop the game. And developing the game is done by human beings. The best resource of an organization is officers. The executive committee members are the people who sit cracking their brains to draw up policies, implement policies that are laid by Congress, and do so many things. So to me, if that is being given to them as a reward or a thank you for being on the executive committee for 4 years, it's not an extraordinary payment. It does not mean that we have disregarded other key priorities and left this one out. They are all important, but the executive committee members, to me, are the most important in terms of prioritizing the assets of the Football Association. And I also think that even without paying the ex gratia payment or making the ex gratia payment, you cannot pay all the bills. The fact that you owe referees doesn't mean you don't have to eat when you are hungry.
Interesting there. Still on the GFA president, and it is now confirmed that the Ghana Premier League headline sponsor, First Capital Plus Bank, has suspended a sponsorship deal. The GFA president, Kwesi Nyantichi, says they are yet to sit with officials of the bank to thrash out the issue.
But there is a request for a suspension. The word is suspension of the contract because the bank is undergoing restructuring. But we are yet to engage the bank on this request. The executive committee is yet to meet and discuss this subject, and if there are legal issues flowing from that, we'll take it up. And I think that at the right time you will get to hear about it.
That's all for sports.
Now we wrap up the news for tonight, and if in case you missed something, you can join us at 10:30 when we bring you news tonight. But before we go, a quick reminder of our headline stories. An AU high-level panel on illicit financial flows from Africa, chaired by former South African President Thabo Mbeki, is in Ghana to confer with government on how to tackle the problem.
The Finance Minister, Mr. Seth Terkpe, will on Friday present the 2016 financial statement to Parliament. The budget will form part of the government's transformational agenda and secure the bright medium-term prospects of the economy. Ghanaians have, however, been urged to be more moderate in their expectations.
And several African leaders say the $1.9 billion European fund to tackle African migration is not sufficient. It was one of several measures, and African leaders agreed on to reduce the flow of people into Europe. The leaders say their aim was to address the root causes of migration. Our next bulletin is at 10:30.
Thank you for watching. Good evening.